So I'm back from vacation in Japan. My family and another family, we decided to fly to Osaka and then travel out to the more rural places of Shikoku. I've been back for about a week now and I'm feeling a bit more relaxed because I was pretty busy before the trip, and now I'm slowly easing back into the swing of things. As you can see, I'm back at my desk in my studio, the studio that had the mold issue on the ceiling. When I came back, I had to deal with that. The mold specialist, or the mold man, came and gassed the room and then used a shortwave UV light to blast the room with rays that would kill the mold, and then repainted the ceiling because apparently mold starts growing from the ceiling first and then downwards. So it's all nice and new and I feel like I can breathe better and my coughing has stopped, so that's a good thing. Just learn to actually ventilate the room more often, especially after I use air conditioning. Before the vacation, the clients just needed me to finish some projects just before I left. So it was pretty stressful finishing everything. I don't know why that always happens just before a vacation. So when the vacation started, I felt like I just didn't want to think about work. And my work consists of illustrating and drawing. So during the vacation, I could do a very nice comic diary for every day, covering everything I did, what I ate and everything. But I thought this time I'll just take it really easy, and I just didn't want to think about drawing or illustrating or capturing the whole holiday like I would normally do, especially before kids. And I certainly didn't want to do drawings just to show on YouTube, because I feel that drawing shouldn't be done just to show the public. It should be something that I do because it's something that flows out of me and I enjoy. I think it's healthier to think that way. So this time I told myself that I'll just draw whatever I feel like drawing, and even if I didn't draw anything at all in my sketchbook, I'll be totally okay with it. There was no pressure and it was just time for me to recharge. So this is what I ended up drawing in my sketchbook during the vacation. When I go to Japan, I always feel like they're always innovating, and whenever I look around, I always find all kinds of things that inspire me. So this is the first page that I started with, and I wanted it to be really easy and simple and stress-free. So I decided to just capture little bits of inspiration that I saw along the way. They can be really small things, like a girl wearing a double thing on her head instead of a single thing. To me, it was interesting. And I saw an exhibit where 12 artists were displaying their work all in the same hall. I didn't take a picture, but I found it here on their website. Somehow it looked like all these different pieces done in different kinds of art were kind of telling different aspects of the same story, though I could be mistaken. Anyways, I thought that it's kind of cool if a story could be told using different forms of art all combined together. In many places that I went during this holiday, whether it's cafes, restaurants, or even the hotel lobby, I'll find that there's always this nice drawing or painting framed up. I usually keep my paintings in my sketchbooks, but there's something nice about framing an original painting. I'm not a beer drinker, I hardly drink beer, but I found that having a beer at the end of the day of taking care of the kids, lugging luggage around in the cold weather after a meal was rather enjoyable. This was actually after overhearing the kids talk about a Pokemon character, and I thought the idea of it was kind of cool. Of course, I combine it with my own thoughts, like what if in the story there was such a thing as a slow creature, but he only seems slow because he exists or he moves in a different dimension, not because he was really slow. During one of the days, the kids went to this giant playground where they had all these strange rides that kids could ride on. This is something that I don't really see in my country, so it was pretty cool. In Japan, there were a lot of boxy looking vehicles, almost like toaster ovens. And I do really like this kind of boxy shape when it comes to vehicles. This is actually Japan's mail van, and I do have the toy here that I bought for my kid some time ago. You can see it's all scratched up now. The bag actually opens too. On the Naoshima Island, which is promoted as an art island, we went to an eatery there for lunch, and they only served two things on the menu: fried chicken and yellowtail sashimi on rice. And I went for the yellowtail because I'm trying not to eat so much fried food, and that was amazing. The idea of having only two items and doing it really well, that was inspiring to me. Painting on stickers, decorating windows and walls. And I found this in a hotel that used to be an elementary school, which I'll show you later. So all of this was pretty relaxing to do because they were all recorded in bits and they didn't take long to do. Like some of them were drawn during a train ride or on the hotel bed while the kids were watching TV or while I was waiting for the bathroom to be available. Just during pockets of time which can be easily consumed with phone scrolling if I'm not careful. Oh yeah. Okay, so don't see this page yet. I'll just cover it up. I continued these little bits of captures with this page called Ideas. In a shop they had this product where they sold a sketchbook that came with a frame and you could just hang up the whole sketchbook in a frame, and I thought that was such a cool idea. Maybe I could make it on my own rather than buy it as a product. In Japan, they had a lot of hand-drawn drawings that were drawn a lot bigger than how I normally draw, like A3 or so, and they were framed up in cafes and walkways and stuff. And a lot of times they didn't really look amazingly polished, but found that they were delightful to look at. Drawing bigger also, even though the drawing is not perfect, there could be more details put into it just because of the larger space. And speaking of those drawings, they were all placed in nice frames, and I thought maybe I should do more of that. I like the graphics in signages and prints that I saw there. I admire the skill in how they simplify it to that form. Although I already do that to some degree, I feel that that's something I can improve on even more. Oh, by the way, what tools did I bring on my journey this time? I kept it really simple. Let me show you. On overseas trips, although I love fountain pens, I didn't bring a single fountain pen. Instead, I brought this mangaka flexible pen that produces a kind of variable line, just a felt tip marker. I brought the Sennelier oil pastels and Holbein oil pastels, and it's dry media too, so it's pretty manageable. And for this page, I just used a 0.5 pigment liner. Actually, for the longest time, I don't like pigment liners because I always find that they're boring. I used to have this bias for fountain pens because I think that they are a more elegant tool and have more interesting line variation, especially the flex pens and stuff. But I brought this just because it's cheap and it's mess-free, especially when I need to just drop everything and attend to my kids. I'm slowly liking pigment liners again. They're waterproof too, and I could use them with watercolor. So this is pretty much what I brought and used mainly. While waiting for the food to arrive at a cafe one morning, my 3-year-old was getting restless, so I handed him this book and asked him to just have fun painting. Oh yes, I also brought a water brush, this one, so it goes with the watercolor. So he was just messing the whole thing up, and I was just embracing it because there is an advantage of messing a page up first. It takes the pressure off trying to draw something amazing in my sketchbook. So this is just one way to do it. And then after he was done and he was having breakfast, or we were trying to feed him, he was moving around a lot and I was trying to paint him, and I was giving myself a lot of license to be messy, as you can see. And you notice that these little words, they kind of act as little crunchy texture over the soft watercolors. So yes, if you find that you're always worried about messing up a page, just get a kid to mess up the page first and then see how you feel about drawing on it. Because since it's already trashed, now it's just more about rescuing it. I felt that this was actually pretty fun to do. We went to see the Naruto whirlpools. After that, we found this eatery a short drive away where workmen would have their lunch. So it's not a fancy place. So maybe fishermen or factory workers would have their lunch in this place. And they had oden and soba and some cold food that you could just take off from this shelf here. So while the kids were finishing their meal, and kids usually take longer to finish their meal, I drew this picture. Although I had some time, I didn't have a lot of time. So what I did was, I did a lot of skipping. I covered this in this video on how I draw very minimally. You can see a lot of gaps, and that allows me to just capture shapes quickly and draw a lot quicker. And then add dabs of watercolor here and there. So just a very quick sketch on location. So in Shikoku, in the Miyoshi area, which is far from the city, we stayed at this place called the Haratoke Cafe. It was an elementary school which has now been converted into a hotel. So you actually can stay there. On the ground floor, there is a cafe where you can have coffee and pizza. And there's also a cat sanctuary. So this was one of the most interesting places that I stayed at because it was really rustic. I drew this on the last morning while the kids were playing with the cats before we left. And during my stay there, I recorded what happened in comic form. So this is the outside of the school. I just drew it from one of my photos. I suppose because it was a school for little kids, the door frames were all really low, so I kept bumping my head. And the really fun thing was that there were quite a few sting bugs around the place, even under my mattress. So I wouldn't say that that's the bad thing about this place, rather I think that it's one of the things that make this place interesting. This is a rural place, and having insects is actually perfectly normal. Anyway, we found that sting bugs don't bite humans, so they were pretty harmless. We didn't really see many other insects other than the sting bugs. The kids were having fun screaming, and we were catching sting bugs before we slept each night. How I caught them was to use an empty milk carton, cover them, and then slide a thicker paper underneath, and then close the cap, and then throw them outside. The hotel owner, who is also a designer, makes pizza for the guests. I tried cold showers. My family and the other family I was traveling with our kids, we all stayed in one classroom. It was really cold there. So this is an urban sketch, and it's drawn from direct observation. And then I continued the story with a comic, which is actually drawn from imagination. While I was at the Haratoke Cafe, I was hanging this shirt, and when I got back to the Takamatsu city, I took this shirt out of my bag and out jumped a stink bug. I got a cup from the hotel and covered it, and then I threw it out the hotel window. A few minutes later, I heard noise from the toilet. My wife had found a second stink bug that flew out of her toiletry bag. My friend's kids collecting stamps. Quite a few places have stamps, as you can see here. And this is from the packaging. A bit disjointed, but just having fun using my pen. And here I was reminding myself that I'm totally okay with not recording much in my sketchbook, but actually I kind of recorded quite a bit. Kids watching TV. While watching TV, that's when the parents are able to do stuff. In Osaka, I was looking for some simple art souvenir for a couple of my friends, and I found this Mitsubishi rainbow pencil. It says it writes on everything, and it's water soluble too, so I bought one for myself. This one pulls the string here, and then that's how it reveals more of the lead. So this was added to my art tools. I used it here, and I mixed it with oil pastels. Mixing the media always gives a more interesting result. And I found that I really like this pencil, though I don't really fully understand what it's made of yet. So this was at a coffee cafe. My kid watching TV. It was a nice change using dark blue lines for my dark instead of my usual black lines. So during this trip, I found that I could capture my experience in quite a few different ways. And this is one other way that I found where I would just narrow down to one specific topic. This one was narrowed down to my experiences with kids during the vacation. This was when my kid didn't want to eat his lunch and he just wanted to eat a lollipop. We bought him an onigiri and he just threw it onto the floor. So it was a lesson for us parents to deal with it calmly. I think my wife did a better job than me that day. Traveling with kids, I find that it's hard to just focus on the yummy food I'm about to eat because there's always something happening with the kids. He spilled the water, another kid needs a tissue, the kid is spitting the food out, he's not eating his food, etc. I'm always distracted from my food in front of me. When rushing for a train, my youngest kid would sometimes refuse to sit on his stroller and he wants to be carried. My kid just wanting to eat candy, thinking he can survive on sugar rather than real food. Getting my daughter to try new things. Dealing with my 3-year-old's drippy nose. Being stuck at the toy department at a mall. And us parents, we can't really go to the stores we really want to look at. My kid wanting a certain kind of food or pastry. Buy it for him, he takes one bite, and then he decides he doesn't want it. This happened quite a few times. Eating on the Shinkansen and then my kids spitting out food on the seat. Finding a nice coffee cafe to just finally relax while the kids are asleep. That's having kids and traveling with them. And my 3-year-old has stopped wearing diapers, so when he needs to pee, I'm carrying him and rushing through the train station to get him to the toilet on time. As for the style, you can see that I tried not to care so much. I just used whatever tool that I pulled out of my pencil box. Although there are all kinds of different line tools and color tools, I do pay attention to having the highlights, midtones and darks come out in each picture, and maybe a bit of balancing cool and warm colors. Other than that, I just give myself license to just mix and match. For this page, I only drew this after I got back from Japan. I would call this a drawing done with the lingering afterglow of the vacation. It's kind of like how in Japan, when you have leftover soba sauce in the bowl, some restaurants will give you hot soba water to mix with the sauce so you can finish it as a soup. So I felt that this was like that. I just painted random marks with watercolor, just adding some dark parts, some midtones and some highlights. Just here, 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 without knowing what I was going to draw. When the paint had dried, I went over with a color pencil or this pencil and started to just draw whatever came to mind. And what came to mind was actually this train station outside my hotel window at Okoyama. And of course, this was not drawn from reference. This is just my own imaginative drawing, just something like it. The next thing that came to mind was these characters lugging luggages. It's kind of like me and my wife. I didn't draw the kids here. I remembered seeing elderly train station staff, so I drew this person here. And the next thing that came to mind was a crowded train. And yeah, in this universe, the people are creatures with ears and animals or something, except for this guy. So, but whatever, it was just fun. So anyways, it's not exactly Japan. It's very interpretive and totally not accurate. And I just give myself lots of license to not have it accurate. That's how I make it fun for myself. So these are the ways that I recorded my adventures in Japan. So maybe this will give you some ideas when you go traveling. Hope you had fun looking through my sketchbook, and thanks for watching.